This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Yeah, I would see you broke some big news Monday about Devo. Kind of what's that process like? Where you said you guys had a good meeting. I guess you lifted weights together. What's that process like? Where you both feel good about him coming back? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, you sit down and you talk to the player, and you have a meeting and you discuss, you know, how he's going to come back, how that process is going to work, what day he's going to come back to practice, what physically after being away for a little bit are you going to do, like how much, how little. So I mean, that was basically what the conversation was.
I guess how good do you feel that there was a good resolution of this, a positive one? I at least I think you'd look at it that way.
Yeah, no, we're excited to have Devo back. I think he's excited. He's been working hard. He's had a great week of practice. He's, I think from a conditioning standpoint, we talked yesterday about his conditioning, and he's, feels like he's back to where he was from a conditioning standpoint. So, well, he's been a part of, 4 really good years, and certainly looking forward to having him back.
How's the team handled it? I mean, as far as the guys accepting him back, and how's that been?
Guys have been great. I mean, I mean, I didn't notice, a change at all in anybody, other than the fact that he was back practicing and practicing hard.
And what are your He's obviously a guy that's played. I think he's averaging just under 30 minutes for you. What are your expectations for him Saturday? I mean, how big a part of the game plan could he be?
I mean, I don't know if we know. I don't know if we know what any role is going to be right now. I mean, I don't ever go into a game, Bob, thinking that a player is going to play 15 minutes or 30. I think the game dictates it, especially this year. I think maybe in the past years we've had a pretty set rotation. We have 9 regular season games left, and we're midway through, and we still are undecided on starting lineup. So I really can't tell you how many minutes Devo is going to play, other than the fact that, the reason we discussed his conditioning was because if he plays a lot, are you ready to do that? And that's why we had the conversation yesterday, and put together a plan on his return of what the practice schedule would look like, and where he would fit into each of the parts of practice.
But no restrictions on him then. If it's working where he can play a lot of minutes, then he's ready to do that if that's the way it works out.
Yeah. Yep. There's no restrictions whatsoever as far as minutes from the trainer or strength coach or the coaching staff.
Okay, I might have a couple more. I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Bob.
Touch. Yeah, Eric, I saw where you also mentioned that y'all were working on some new plays, I guess. How has that looked? And are these plays things that are just specific to Georgia, or are these things that maybe could help you over the back half of SEC play?
Great question, Hut. If they work, we'll use them again. But you got to make shots, and you got to have good entry passes, and so we'll I mean, you're not going to change a lot in a week, but certainly we've added some tweaks, and we start every game with a new play anyhow, so that you're going to add 4 or 5 different wrinkles to some things that maybe we need to take more advantage of, especially when you play a team a second time.
Speaking about playing them a second time, just how different are they maybe this time around than the last time you played Georgia?
Well, I mean, it's, same personnel. There's no injuries, obviously, from our end. Brazil's not playing, so that makes it, different in its own, game plan, not having a 6'11" player. And last game, they had 2 of their better players come off the bench. So I don't, I can't guess if those guys are going to start or not start. But they have the same personnel And, you know, I mean, same themes, don't give up threes, get back in transition, build a wall against their 2-point guards, number 4 and number 11 Hill. You know, absolutely no threes for Abdul Rahim, which we did a good job, except one particular action. They do a good job cutting from the corners. You can't fall asleep, which we fell asleep 3 times. At Georgian, gave up 6 easy baskets just on not being defensively alert on the weak side. And Melendez is playing much better. I guess, Hutch, if there's one thing from the Georgia perspective that's a little bit different from the last time we played him, is Melendez has been one of the most improved players in the SEC once conference play started.
And I was going to ask for an update on Brazil. Is he getting any closer to returning to action?
No.
Connor?
Hey, Coach, I know you just mentioned that Brazil's not getting any closer. Do you expect him to be back at all? Or what's that timetable look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the timetable is up to the player, the trainer. Really, that's who it's up to. You know, he's not comfortable moving laterally right now. You know, I think from the doctor's perspective, it's really in the trainers and the strength coach and the players' hands. I think from a doctor wise right now, you know, it just comes down to you know, rehab and making it stronger, I guess, or making it, you know, more comfortable.
Anthony?
Pressed the wrong button. Sorry about that. Just kind of talking about Georgia, obviously held them below their 3-point average. You know, last time you played them, and you've mentioned a couple of times how you guys have struggled guarding the 3. Can you just talk about how do you approach a game like this where you have had some marginal success against them? And how do you, I guess, kind of approach, you know, trying to guard the 3 at this stage of the season?
Well, certainly the way that we've addressed it over the last 4 or 5 days, you know, is to emphasize it, and technique wise to, you know, part of the thing is, you know, why would you not contest the 3? It would be because you're concerned about getting beat off the dribble. You know, I think that's any player at any level is when you hard close out, you are susceptible to get beat off the bounce. You know, we've added some new closeout drills. I don't know if those will help or not, but in search to try to continue to improve and get better as the season progresses, you know, we have added some closeout drills because it's you know, vital to us to get better at defending the 3. And so, you know, we're not as long as we have been in the past. That's, you know, that's good. We've learned as a staff, roster building, the length that we've had, it's been really important for us defending the 3. Even though that year 1, you know, we were really small at the center spot with Adrio at 6'6". You know, but that group was pretty long, 1 through 5.
Jackson?
Hey, Eric. Are there times with the 3-point defending where maybe you guys are helping too much or off spots you shouldn't, or is it just too much dribble drive and that's kind of the core of the 3-point issues?
Well, I think defensively, you know, this group has, you know, struggled in several different areas. You know, I don't necessarily think, Jackson, that it's one thing. I mean, again, as coaches, you know, you try to be consistent with your approach. You know, and as we look at our roster, I mean, you know, there's areas that our team is different than in the past, and then it's, you know, it's up to us to try to address those moving forward as well. And with the current group, I mean, we've got to continue to teach, emphasize, talk about it. You know, you just don't want a team to do catch and shoot 3s. I mean, you got to floor the ball when it's, you know, I mean, who are the guys on Georgia that we cannot give up open 3s? It's pretty simple. It's 0 Kane. It's number 3 Thomason, who can shoot them off the bounce. It's number 1, Abdul Rahim, and it's number 11, Hill. So that does not mean that Melendez, I mean, we don't want to give him threes because he's been, very much improved since the season started. And then we know that their 5 men are not going to shoot threes. So our 5s have to help off the dribble drive and be alert for dump off passes. And, so there, we gotta guard that group of 5 guys from 3.
And did you have a feeling all along that Devo would eventually return, or was it, really a didn't know situation until maybe it got closer to happening?
I mean, I've never speculated on anything. I think for us, it's you take each day as it comes, So, I mean, yeah, I guess me personally, yes, I thought he was going to return to the team.
Bob,
Yeah, Eric, you guys were at a disadvantage schedule-wise last week, 2 road games, playing a team at their place who'd had a week off. Now Georgia had to play a late game at Starkville, and I know this tip-off's not at 11, it's at 5, but I personally think that probably helps the home team because fans will be awake maybe and show up in better numbers. But how do you think that plays out? You were on the road team end of that last week, and now you get to be the home team that's had a week. How do you think that might play into this game? Georgia having to basically do what y'all did last week.
Yeah, I said it on the radio thing the other night. I have no idea. Nobody does on a bye week, whether it helps or hurts. Certainly, if LSU had some sickness or some minor injuries, it helped them heal. Because I've heard, the LSU staff talk about that they did have that and that helped them. I don't know till the game's over, Bob, if it helped us or hurt us. I know the 11 a.m. did not help us when we played. That I know for sure. I would prefer no bye week and would prefer keeping in the rhythm. So Georgia's in their normal rhythm routine. For us, we got a week to try to get in the gym and practice and get better.
And they're obviously much improved. Mike's done a good job, obviously, but they have lost 4 in a row. Kind of what's your take on they're struggling right now to get wins?
I think a lot of times in this league or any good league, it boils down to your schedule as well, who you play, when you play them, and then also injuries on your current team and then injuries on an opposing team. But I think Mike White's one of the best coaches in our league. I thought he did a great job at Florida. He's doing a great job here with Georgia. He's had good player development with a guy like Abdul Rahim. He's gotten better under Mike's tutelage, and Melendez has improved for sure as a basketball player. And then I think that their transfers have done a really good job. Thomason has elevated his game from a lower level as a transfer. So I think, have they lost some games in a row? Sure. Or do they have a good record? Yes. Are they potential bubble team? Yes. Can they be in the NCAA tournament? Yes. So I think this team is really, really well coached on both sides of the ball.
And then having a week without a midweek game, did that help integrate Devo back into the rotation, back with the team? The fact you weren't having to get ready for a game Tuesday or Wednesday.
Sure. I think if somebody was not with the team, and then I think that probably helped everybody. Yeah.
Let's got one more. Obviously, we don't know how fans are going to react. What would be your hope, I guess, for if Devo starts and gets introduced, or when he gets up to the scores table to go in? Some fans, I'm sure, will cheer. There might be some boos. Yeah, I don't know. People are obviously react different ways. What would be your hope, or do you have a message for the fans? For how you hope they'll react to Devo's return?
Devo has done some incredible things as part of this program, and you look at the success over the last 3 years, and he's been a big part of it. We're finding out it's not easy, one, to make the NCAA tournament. It's not easy to make a Sweet 16. 3 of them. It's not easy to make 2 back-to-back Elite Eights. He's been a part of that. And, so hopefully everybody recognizes what he has done for the program. Sometimes, and again, this is off subject of any one player, but sometimes when you have success, it gets taken granted. And it's hard in this league to win games. It's hard to make an NCAA tournament. And like I said, answering your question, Bob, he has been a part of a lot of winning and a lot of incredible moments for this basketball program. And so, I think that's that's a statement on that.
And when you guys decide to lift weights, was that spontaneous, or that's kind of like a handshake on the deal? Like, okay, everything's, we've agreed on this. Let's go pump some iron, or kind of how did that come about? I thought that was kind of interesting.
I mean, Bob, we had a meeting. You know what I mean? The 2 of us had a meeting. We met, and like I said, we're happy to have him back, and he's excited to be back playing for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, but maybe I didn't do it. I just wondering how you guys ended up lifting weights together. Like, why was that? Why'd y'all do
Well, I
that?
was already in the weight room, so.
Okay.
And he walked in.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a story. Somebody will figure something out and make something up. I mean, there'll be some rumor about something, as there always is. But yeah, I was just in the weight room and he walked up. But who knows what, where that goes or whatever. It's it is what it is.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Eric, I have a little bit of a random question, but going back to the Missouri game, I think we all know that when you've got a sizable lead late in the second half, you like to take the air out of the ball a little bit, cut down the possessions and everything. I'm just curious, where did that philosophy come from? Is that something you picked up along the way? Is it something you read from another coach, or just where did that come from?
A lot of winning that's followed it. I can't remember, but maybe one game that it's backfired. I mean, clock management in every sport's important. So, I mean, where did I learn? From basically every coach I've ever been around, from Chuck Daly to Mike Fratello to Doc Rivers. Unless you just feel like you have way more talent and, and to be honest with you, Hutch, we've made a heck of a lot of comebacks when people haven't taken the air out of the ball. And that's pretty well documented going all the way back to, and that's why we've won some NCAA tournament games, to be quite frank. And you can go back and do the history on, teams that have continued to run with us when we've been behind and in a scramble situation.
And I'm curious, I know like football coaches have like a chart that says, when to go for it on 4th down or when to go for a 2-point conversion. Do you have something similar to that, like a certain time left and a certain lead, or is it kind of just all up in your head and you go with the flow?
Well, I think we have a plan every game on stuff, but I think the game, Hutch, when you're up, I don't know if people on our team have foul trouble or people on their team have foul trouble. I don't know that, that's a kind of a general statement. I think every team is different. You know what I mean? When we had the Martin twins, we knew we were going to create steals. You know what I mean? And so, when you're down, you got a little bit different philosophy. This year's team for us doesn't create steals. So we can't have the same philosophy for one team that has completely different characteristics than another team. In general, I look at that 5-minute mark and try to think in live action, how many more possessions are there in this game? Root is a little bit better with math, but I'll ask, like, how many possessions are there? And you try to think about the opposition getting 3s and you getting 2s or empty possessions or 1 foul shot. So I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I wish we were in a lot more positions like that this year than we have been. So we haven't really been in that many positions, unless you're kind of talking about the road game the other night at Missouri, whenever that was.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.